Decision 2020. Of course, we do the candidate interviews Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 9 to 10. And we're doing the senatorial. We'll move into mayor, vice mayors, congressional, public auditor, all that good stuff as we get closer to the primary election. But on Fridays, we do a fun segment called The After Party. And basically, we just bring a bunch of people on. Some of them are in politics. Some of them are in business. Some of them are people like us who just got who doesn't have an opinion.
Right.
So let's bring on our panel this morning. Is that everybody?
Yep.
Okay, so we have Dr. Michael Bevacqua. Of course, he's been on a bunch of after parties. You guys know him. We have Beauty Camacho, who we actually got her, and because we knew that a lot of the discussion was going to be kind of Underwood, St. Nicholas. Bree and I kind of went on that because St. Nicholas is so strong on social media. We went on the social media and we kind of were like looking at who comments a lot on the in support of the congressman. And so we've got Beauty Camacho. Thank you, Beauty, for first of all accepting the invite and not thinking I'm a total weirdo for calling you randomly. I mean, I was like, I got your number off Facebook. I'm sure you heard that one before.
So you literally.
Oh no, my number is absolutely public.
Right. And then of course we have Mr. Nothing Burger himself, Mike Israel. Good morning, Mike.
I love the comments of the lady.
Yeah, I figured you would. Pete Santos. And Pete Santos is a guy, again, always very active on social media. And I think he's got a cool perspective, so we wanted to bring him on. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning, Chris. How are you doing?
We're doing pretty good. Joni Kerr also. We brought on Joni. Good morning, Joni.
Good morning. Half a day.
Joni is from the Fanogi Coalition. And we'll go ahead and start there. Joni, there was a forum that you guys had held the other day, and prior to that, Congressman St. Nicholas had held a press conference and had said that he was, wanting to participate in any virtual forums or debates, but that he didn't know of any. And you guys had actually maybe even over-invited him to this Fanogi Coalition debate. So maybe if you could just give us your reaction to him being a no-show, and no, we'll just start there.
I think he called, right? Yeah, he called 45 minutes before or something like that.
Yeah, so I didn't know that. So just give us the info, Joni.
Well, I think Mike Bevacqua would like to certainly chime in on this. It was disappointing to not have the congressman participate in the forum, because I think it just would have been much better for him to show up. I think even probably his supporters would have liked to have seen him come on in some way, shape, or form. He was invited to even have it recorded, pre-recorded, and that would have been fine as well. And then because he didn't, he actually did not respond to us directly. I don't believe he ever did that, and things had to move on, and it was decided to have a Q&A session in place of the time that had been allotted, that would have been his on the forum.
Yes, I can speak to that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we had really wanted to make every effort, knowing the difficulties that the current congressman has in the States, the time difference, sort of the whatever schedule he has. So in the initial invitation, which was sent out about 3.5 weeks ago, he was told that he could record it ahead of time, or he could do it live. That it would not be one where we wanted to give each candidate the chance to speak on their own terms, not debate each other. So each person would get 20 to 25 minutes, and we emailed it to his office. We delivered it to his office. We tagged him on social media. We sent him messages on Facebook, and messages were sent via WhatsApp. And he never formally responded to any of them. And at the last minute, we had people who were messaging him who told him that if he couldn't make it himself, he could have a representative come and at least share his position on it. And we never got a response until 45 minutes before, and we never received any direct response.
What happened 45 minutes before?
He messaged somebody who is a member of the coalition.
Okay. Beauty,
on WhatsApp.
We'll take it over to you as a Congressman San Nicolas supporter. It really sounds like these guys went above and beyond, and this is something that we deal with, and we're a media outlet. I mean, we don't get response from the congressman. So how would you, I mean, I guess first of all, as a supporter, would you have liked to have seen Congressman San Nicolas participate in this forum?
Hi guys, like I mentioned, I'm not very political. I try to do my community service as best I can and represent myself and the organizations that I represent. So, you know, like I don't necessarily follow a lot of the candidates during election time. I do my research before it's time to vote, and I don't necessarily get into all the dabble, the back and forth and all of that. So I like to just stay to myself and keep a level head until it's really time to vote. And I like to stay on the positive side of things and look at the positive points within all the candidates. So I'm not really a Congressman San Nicolas supporter or an Underwood supporter or you know, anybody else. I want to make sure that I educate myself before I say that I'm going to be supporting anyone. Until I see something happen in front of my face and live, that's when I'll have an opinion for a direct event, but not necessarily something that's, you know, online or through text, because tones are misunderstood sometimes, and we won't be able to see that unless it's a face-to-face reaction. But that is an opportunity that you guys gave him, and for me as an event planner, I think 3 weeks might have been a bit short for a congressman's schedule, but like you said, you gave over 5 different avenues to connect with him, and he must have gotten it early on or within time to be able to respond to you guys within 45 minutes.
Mike
comment.
Mike Israel, I'm sorry, Beauty. Mike, so forums, I mean, let's keep it general, right? Should, you know, congressmen and should they attend all these forums to get the message out to the people, or what do you think of it?
Oh, absolutely. Part of the job of a public servant is to address the public, the boss. It'd be the equivalent of the boss calling and saying, "Hey, we'd like a report," and one of my employees telling me, "I'm kind of busy. I'll see you later." So I don't agree on that. On the other hand, who do I support for Congress? Well, that's easy. I'm in the tradition of everybody from Guam. We support family, so that'll be Madeline Berdallo.
What do you guys go make of the...
Chris, can I address the...
yeah, go ahead, Pete. Yeah, because we missed you. Sorry.
Sure. So, 3.5 weeks, I would respectfully disagree. 3.5 weeks is a lot of time. I mean, he did an impromptu forum the day before without very much notice. He came out with a press release after. You know, this is to dovetail and add to the information that Mike Bevacqua provided. He sent out a press release saying that, you know, he was tied up with a meeting, and then he didn't say what it was. Or actually, that was his response. But then he sent out a press release, and now we know that he was involved in the Exim Bank, Export-Import Bank forum that they had. You know, I'm sure he knew long in advance about that, right? So what is the takeaway from this? So he does have a legitimate excuse. I will give him that. But he never said anything until 45 minutes before the forum that's been planned and publicized. What is the takeaway from that? What is the messaging? What is the signaling? What is the optics of that? He just does not care about us.
What about the... Go ahead, Mike. Yeah.
You know, I'm not really, I'm sort of the outsider looking in. I'm more of the economy and money. I mean, I was much more sympathetic with the prior speaker. That really got exactly what my message has been about.
Yeah.
On the Finogi, I understand that it is an activist group. They do have a very specific point of view. And I can sympathize a little bit with Mike San Nicolas in that he probably was concerned about being ambushed or questions like that. But of course, I'm ignorant. If Finogi could educate a little bit, when you hold this forum, do you include a list of questions or topics on which you want to have a discussion on, or was it more of, we're talking, why don't you join our conversation? Just kind of curious. I mean,
and so for the congressional forum, they did receive the topics and the questions ahead of time. And the candidates were encouraged, though, to take the conversation in whatever direction they felt to explain their record and to talk about their plans and their goals. So, yeah, there was, yeah. And so it was, because as Joni can also elaborate, the Fanogi Coalition is 37 different groups, different organizations, some of whom are not traditional activist groups. They're more just community organizations. Couple small businesses are part of it. And Joni, did you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah. When the group first formed, this was prior to the Fanogi March last year, there was a roundtable with the governor to address things about the firing range. But some of those groups, actually, all of those groups that were at the table eventually became part of the Fanogi Coalition. And some of the people at the table were actually small business owners. So it's not, this group is very diverse. There are academics and tradespeople, there are students, there are women, there are women's groups who are really concerned about the social welfare and well-being of women. There's the Young Men's Association, or the Young Men's League of Guam.
Right.
Yeah.
No, we get it.
And
it is
environmental groups
right,
as well.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just, like I said, I'm not involved with these forums, I think, and I know as a speaker myself, I kind of like to know what the conversation is, what the format is, how it's going to be conducted, so that way you can be prepared and not a gotcha moment. But I think, and I'm glad to hear that you are doing that, and that's excellent. And therefore, if I were, and I am not a politician, I would always want to try and take as many opportunities to reach as many people, even people who may disagree with me. Right. I could at least set out exactly why I think that's not a fair, valid, or why I disagree with your group, or blah blah blah. To the extent I even had an opinion, because I'm not a politician.
And Mr. Israel, recall that the group had given him the opportunity to pre-record a message or send a representative.
Right, yeah, Pete, we get
neither of those.
That we really bent over backwards to try and get the congressman. And on the gotcha moment, Mike, I think that if you're at that level of elected office, you should be well versed on all the issues that are facing the target. Let's switch a little bit here. I want to take it to beauty. Let's talk the negative campaigning. So we have on the one side the challenger, right, Congressman Underwood, who's bringing up these issues that have been reported on locally and nationally with the ethics subcommittee investigation, with some of the campaign finance. So these are things that are on the congressman's record, but they're being characterized as negative campaigning. Just what are your thoughts on that, Beauty?
Right, and that's just so funny because I only saw one yesterday, and for me, a lot of the dramatics play into it, where you're adding background music and really dramatic type of, like, that just turns me off, and I definitely move on to the next thing that I was about to do. So like I said, I'm not political at all, and if I do get any ads like that, I shut it out. It doesn't even faze me, and I actually kind of put it as a negative tick on both parties, rather than just giving it to Underwood. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm gonna see that type of advertisement, it's like, oh wow, that's the route that they're gonna take. It doesn't seem very mature to me, and as a positive person, that's just not the attitude that I want to have in Congress.
So when you
have someone representing that.
So when you see, let's say, these nice, fluffy type of political ads, I'm a father, I've got these great legislative aids, does that work for you then?
Not necessarily as well. I'm kind of neutral with that also, because everybody is a family member. We all have. You can post your dog for all I care. I want to see results.
Right,
I want to see the results of what you've done. I want to see who are the real people that are working for you and representing you.
Right.
Like I mentioned with speaking with Chris for a little bit. I really only am familiar with Congressman San Nicolas through his aide to Nelta Mori, and she and I went to school together.
Right.
And because I believe in her, and I believe in her work ethic and her attitude and everything that she's done in school, I know that I can support who she's representing.
Right.
And I trust her guidance through that. So even if she does move on to another party, that's who I'm going to most likely follow as well, because I follow the people who I know are working or who I've also worked with.
I get it.
I enjoy the authenticity, and I like to see the results from people who are not necessarily, you can't really just say, I'm the congressman, this is all of the stuff that I've done. I like to see who's helped them get to that point.
Right.
And I like to see their acknowledgement of all the people within their team, not necessarily them taking credit for everything that their office has, put through.
And we'll just take it to the panel after this, but it's such an interesting thing that we have on the one side, these very tangible and very real issues and concerns with the congressman in terms of this ethics subcommittee investigation and the charges that he interfered with it. And to me, it's tough because on the one hand, to someone like Beauty, this and a lot of people, it seems like negative campaigning. But on the other, don't you think the voters need to know that what are the consequences of this? So after the election, are we going to see this investigation ramp up? I mean, how serious is it? Are we looking at a possible resignation? And so I feel like on the one hand, we can totally talk about this because it's totally on the congressman's record, but I can see how people are turned off by it. But then I also can see how it can be spun into a defense. So I guess we'll just take it to the panel. Your thoughts on this? Because negative campaigning seems to be the buzzword.
So yeah,
hey,
I think
Chris, can I chime in?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. You guys are on your own.
Yeah,
okay.
Chris.
Go ahead, Pete.
I'm sorry. Okay. So I wanted to just clarify something, Chris. You introduced this panel as St. Nicholas supporters and Underwood supporters. I am in no way affiliated with the Underwood campaign.
Right.
I'm not actually an Underwood supporter per se, because I just think that either Will Castro or Congressman Underwood is the better alternative to St. Nicholas. And as a matter of fact, like St. Nicholas, I was thinking of hiring a high-powered DC lawyer to sue Congressman Underwood, because that negative ad campaign has been all the talking points I've been saying for months. So I'm saying that in joking, but it's not a negative ad. And here's the reaction that Michael St. Nicholas had during his question and answer period in response to Congressman Underwood's live feed thing. He said, we're going to stay positive and stay away from the negative. But that's just more of him fooling the people. Michael St. Nicholas has been using negative attacks since months. And then he also has a PR firm that has been doing it for him. It's called Candid News or Candid Fake News, because they publish all of these sunshine stories about Michael St. Nicholas, and then they publish all these attack stories on his political adversaries. Yeah. And everyone knows that Michael St. Nicholas funds Candid News. They're his PR firm. That's all Candid News really is.
All right. Maguette?
So yeah, I think one of the things I don't think that this ad would feel so negative, because one of the things about it is that the words are all taken from news pieces and from documents that are produced by the US Congress. So very little of it actually comes from the Underwood campaign itself. So it is just stuff that's out there in the public record. It is made to look very serious, of course, but one of the reasons why it feels very jarring to people is because that the congressman hasn't really talked to the community about these issues directly. Usually when you're confronted with something like this, you have to go through a period where you really explain it to people. So if it's wrong, if it's inaccurate, if it's not factual, you have to have a conversation with people to help them understand these points. But there hasn't been a lot of that. There's Facebook messages, every once in a while. But in terms of having just an open forum, in terms of sitting down at length with the media and talking about it. I mean, when you think about other politicians that face similar types of scandals, you have to sit down with the media for a while. And if you want to show that whatever happened is not true, or you're sorry about it and you want to move ahead, there has to be that period of openness where you are transparent, where you're talking to people, and you have to deal with the criticism because, as was said earlier, you're an elected leader. You know, you're an elected official. So the people chose you, which means that if the people have concerns, you have to be open to those concerns, even if you don't want to hear them, even if they frustrate you, even if they irritate you. You have to be open to that because that's part of what a democratically elected leader is supposed to do.
I wanted to...
Can I follow up on that with on Mike's comments? There is a perspective that I can share. It wasn't mine. It's actually one of my relatives. But she says that as a freshman congressman, to already be engaged or embroiled in an ethics investigation, that's kind of, you know, it raises big questions, and it raises even larger questions when your congressman does not address them and calm the people down, his supporters down, or his people down. It's not a good look for the congressman. That's what I need to say and get out there. It makes you more suspicious. And also, Underwood is very, he's been transparent about how his information was obtained. It is in the public record, and I mean, I'm just thinking that Mike St. Nicholas, as a congressman, also has this. He's obligated to explain himself. Really, he is in the public eye, and I don't know if he's taking hints from pleading the fifth or something like that, because there are advantages to keeping silent. But in any case, it does raise many questions, too many questions.
Mike, I know that your Godzu, your Auntie Madeline, is not running in this this election. But if you had a chance to watch what's been going on in the congressional race between,
actually, yeah, that's the very first question. So the point of view from the guy literally living under a rock in Tumon. I haven't actually seen any of these ads. I am aware of the ethics complaints filed by Michael St. Nicholas. As probably the oldest person in this group, I'm kind of surprised former Congressman Underwood would be using the negative campaign on sexual. We love negative campaigns on Guam, but the sex part never really works out because people, it's always been my experience has been in politics on Guam is allegations of sexual improprieties have always backfired, and that a lot of times people get mad at someone bringing up what they consider interpersonal family. I'm not necessarily agreeing with it. I'm just simply saying my observation of having the oldest person in the group here is that we're a very, very forgiving island, especially when it comes to sex. Our island theme song, Johnny, what's the, oh gosh,
Shame and Scandal.
Dementia here. Shame and Scandal in the family, we all know it, And but maybe Guam's changing. Maybe we're becoming more like the States.
It's just against the rules, Mike. I mean, it's against the. I mean, you're right. The people of Guam, they don't care about where you stick your tallywhacker because we've got this Chacma culture. Let's just be honest,
No.
We tolerate it.
But we don't do it publicly. We do it through the family.
Right.
We chat around the fence.
So that's the thing, is it's against the rules.
This is not just a question. This is Mike. This is not just a question of him having improprieties with a female that wasn't his wife. This is about a congressional staffer, which is a violation of the rules, the congressional rules, and that is why that is one of the reasons why he's under an ethics investigation, besides the financial question, his misuse of funds.
Beauty.
So it's not,
again,
sex.
We're from
it was a violation.
Yeah.
Yes.
And again, these are just allegations.
This is a violation.
These are just allegations.
It's a congressional rule. that he allegedly or could have violated. So that's why the investigation is taking place.
Beauty, do you care? Do people care about who Congressman San Nicolas may or may not be sleeping with?
No, I don't necessarily care. That's your business. That's your preference. But if I'm in your staff and I open that door and I see you, then I'm reporting it. That is when I will bring about the, going against our ethics and going against our laws, and that's just not right. But for me to hear just gossip and rumors, no, I cannot base it off of that unless I can definitely see that that's what's engaging right in front of my face.
Right.
And I'm able to report it that same day within 30 minutes or less.
Right.
That's something that I will be able to do.
Right. And these are allegations
without hesitation, because that's just not.
They're allegations that the Congress has, taken very, very seriously at multiple levels. They've escalated, right? So I'm curious, Beauty, in terms
for me personally. Sorry.
Yeah, in terms of addressing these these allegations, what would you like to hear from Congressman San Nicolas? Because couldn't he just come out and say, "I'm sorry, I didn't do it. We're going to beat this"? Because in this press conference, he just flat out said, "I can't talk about it at all."
So, right. And it seems like there is some advisorship coming from somebody else. Right. But with like Mr. Israel mentioned, with sex and scandal being something that can propel somebody's campaign or bring it backwards, it's such an easy way to get things going through a conversation, and not just a conversation within the office, conversation throughout your entire political campaign. So it's going to be, from a marketing aspect, that's going to be something that people are going to continue to talk about and talk about and talk about. And are we trying to imprint his name within the conversation all the time so that his name is brought about? Or is it something that's actually like for example, a fake scandal, right? If it's that's just some type of marketing ploy, or is it something that is genuinely a concern for him and his family? Like, of course, people will be definitely embarrassed about allegations of sex and scandal, but there's just so many avenues to take with that. Like I said, unless I see it for myself, it's not something that I'm going to have an opinion on, because I'm not educated or not witnessed, haven't witnessed enough of that to really have an opinion.
Right, but I mean, that doesn't mean you don't have a valid perspective. I think it's cool that you don't come from the same background as any of these people. Guys, we're going to take a short break, okay? We'll be right back with more of the after party on The Link, The Breeze, 93.9. Good morning.
Tomorrow is built on
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
We got your 6
at 6 a.m. with The Link on Breeze 93.9 FM. Bree and I connect you with all the latest news and information you need to know to start your day.
Then check back with Guam's news leader at 6 p.m. for the day's top headlines with KUAM News Primetime.
From 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and everything else in between with KUAM Digital, we got your 6.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Viva Fitness. It's the Link, the Breeze, 93.9.
Raleigh's on the phone.
All right. We're trying to get a guy. So we'll pod back up the Zoom room, and and trying to put this panel together. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to characterize you guys all either as Underwood or St. Nicholas supporters. I think what I had said was that we had some on both sides, and again, Beauty, we had just seen that you had commented and supported the congressman on a couple articles, and so I just maybe got a little ahead of myself and assumed.
Oh no, it's okay, no problem at all.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about social media, right? This whole social media thing. I mean, Congressman.
I thought we had some comments on sex still.
No, we got the memo from up top. Turn the page on the. It was when I said tallywhacker. They were like, "No, that's it. Done.
Too bad.
Done. You're done, son." So yeah, the social media thing. I mean, the presence on social media. It's ginormous. Mm-hmm. Is that going to translate into results at the ballot box? And maybe if you guys could go into...
I think it's both sides. I mean, just in now, like I've seen a lot of like Congressman Underwood.
Right.
He has like even like little newscasts and stuff on his Facebook page, and Will Castro, he's been all over social media as well.
So social media is a big battleground, especially in this COVID time, and Congressman Nicholas has the edge. I think so. How key is social media for you guys during this primary election in terms of the delegate race?
For me, social media is absolutely key, because in the absence of a lot of the face-to-face direct contact that you have with the community, the impressions on social media are vital. So one of the strengths that the current congressman does have is that people tend to feel that he has a very large following on social media, that he's very strong on Facebook. And so that then translates to a lot of people that are more independent-minded voters. They're not for any particular party. They're kind of floating around, and so if they feel that there's an impression that he's popular on social media, well, then they're more likely to possibly give him a vote. They may not be strong supporters of him necessarily, but there's a good number of people that, because they feel that he's popular or has a commanding presence, that they will sort of lean in his direction. And we see that in more and more campaigns, not just on Guam but elsewhere, that if you have a reputation on social media, it can actually translate into more votes for you, even if those people don't necessarily know your record or have strong feelings about you. It's what they usually call sort of inevitability, right? Is that if people feel like you are likely to win, sometimes they'll just vote in your direction, to sort of be part of that. But so I think that for the other campaigns, sort of taking away that power and that reputation from Mike San Nicolas, so sort of challenging him on Facebook, but also taking advantage of the fact that he has almost no presence on any other social media platform.
Right. Or on island, for that matter.
But the social media, though, for me, like, it doesn't work necessarily for me. Yeah, you can have all the numbers and what have you. But what does work for me is the forums and the debates, whether it's held virtually or whatever, so that you can hear and you can see that interaction. But, I mean, Beauty, your thoughts on social media and what you see and these nice pre-produced commercials?
Like I said, going back, not to bring up the scandal again, but from a marketing point, right? The Mr. Israel's laughing. From a marketing point, it takes like about 16 impressions for someone to really start to engage into your brand or into anything that you're trying to represent. And all of the things that are being brought up about him or anyone else in general are conversation starters because we don't have the answers to them yet. So people are going to go ahead and bring about all their own theories, and it's going to be a discussion that people do want to get involved in. For me too, I agree. I do like listening in on forums, but that's if I even have the time for it. But I do like to replay any live videos, or like I said before, it's voting time. That's when I start doing my homework. Not kind of last minute, but I do enjoy getting more information compiled. That's just how my brain works. Right. To sort and compare and contrast, because if I follow an entire campaign or somebody who's going against another candidate, it's my brain's gonna just get overloaded, and I'm gonna want to. I need to be able to compare and contrast table by table within a shorter period of time.
I think on my end, social media doesn't really work for me because I know with social media, for example, my own social media, it's the reality that I want you guys to see, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't ever post when I get mad at my kids, or I don't ever get post when I'm depressed, or I don't ever post my, fat angle, or you know what I mean? So it's an artificially crafted, or it's just a crafted reality. And so I don't see... Right. I mean, it actually turns me off. What I see is like, God, are you guys just on Facebook all the time? That's really how I feel. I mean, I post on social media because part of it's my job, just to maintain a presence, But really, man, this, and on both sides, on the Underwood supporters too, it's like, Lache, these guys are just like on Facebook all the time. And I feel that way with the congressman as well. I just feel like it's unhealthy. It's really unhealthy how much time people are spending on social media. So we'll just, I guess, Mike, I'm curious what your answer is about this. I don't even know if you have a Facebook.
I do not have Facebook. I have a blank Facebook account simply so I can track my kids. Otherwise, I have absolutely no use for Facebook. But I do know that social media is very important. From my standpoint, I'm grateful for social media because maybe it'll reduce the number of road signs. You know how Guam's tradition, we start plastering all the roads with all these crazy signs all over the place. So I'm hoping that social media might move some of those road signs into a form that's a little more controllable. I think it's important. As a campaign, it's multi-pronged. You always have to be multi-pronged. And social media is one aspect. I know that Mike San Nicolas beat my aunt through social media. She's older than I, and therefore, but we won't admit that. And therefore, she had no clue about social media, and social media really walloped her. Mike's opponent this time, Senator Underwood, as well as Will Castro, took notes. And
go ahead, Mike.
And so basically, they're now doing that, which has diminished the effectiveness of social media. Like you said, you get sort of inundated. Everybody has to have a new thing. And I think we might actually be going back to the future where people are going to say, okay, we got all that social media, which is nice fluff stuff, but now let's start looking at their positions. I think the positions are going to be very, very important. I think it'd be very nice if the news, I mean, I know media, there's voice media and visual media, but there's also print media. And I think a lot of people, when it comes time for voting, we like to put it down and read and compare their different positions. So for instance, the question I would ask is out of the three candidates, who would be the most favorable toward the military buildup? Who would be least favorable toward the military buildup? And that may impact your vote. Which one wants a closer relationship to the United States? Which one would like a little more distant relationship with the United States? Those, I think, are going to be the big, serious questions. As far as the little sexapades of Mike St. Nicholas, it's not a positive. My only request for him is that if he does address it, to not lie. If it's not a good answer you can give without it being a lie, my recommendation is do what he's doing, which is no comment, and this will be handled through the proper channels in Congress.
Right, it's a good holding
not
statement.
To get into debate.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton famously had an affair with Monica Lewinsky some time ago, and I didn't mind him having an affair with Monica Lewinsky. I know it's all wrong and all that, but of all the things he did, that would be really low on the ranking. But what I really resented was when he got on the air and he lied with the finger and pointed and made a bare false lie.
Have sexual relations
lying to your boss, not good. Being a little bit of a human, it's forgivable. We're all Christians.
Yeah, good point, Mike. Guys, we're gonna technically, I don't know how this is gonna work, but hey,
pray to God.
Might as well go for it. But we're bringing up on the phone because they couldn't figure out the Zoom. We got a couple. I mean, and I will say these guys are Congressman St. Nicholas supporters. Raleigh Zabala. I mean, I think this guy comments on every single thing that comes out about. And then we've got Bobby Zamora. Good morning.
You guys there?
Bobby and Raleigh.
Hard time on the audio. We can get the Zoom, but the audio is not working.
Right. Yeah. So we got you on the air now, guys. Are you there?
Yeah, Raleigh's there.
Can you guys hear Raleigh and Bobby?
Barely. Very little.
Speak up, guys. Raleigh and Bobby?
Yeah.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so can you guys hear now? Can you on the Zoom, can you guys hear Raleigh and Bobby? Raleigh and Bobby, say something.
Yeah. How are you?
Good. So tell us why... can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear us?
No.
I can try you in WhatsApp.
Okay, maybe that's not going to work.
So that's the rare example of Michael St. Nicholas not being able to use electronic media. Well, my thoughts on his use of social media, it's more scary now because of the pandemic, because now people are going to rely more on social media. And that's how he's been able to control his false narrative and proliferate his propaganda. But for those who understand and know that, or who have done the research rather, and are vocal like myself, and calling him out, it's more important for us. And I'm seeing more and more people challenge him. It seemed like there was only one or two of us, for months challenging Michael St. Nicholas on the press releases that he puts out and the false narratives that he's been putting out on social media. But like Mr. Israel said, that's just one component. It's a very important component, but Michael St. Nicholas also has a very, very well-oiled machine in his ground game. His right-hand man is Benji Perez, and Benji has a lot of support. I think Benji is actually his Achilles heel. If ever anyone were to take Benji away from Michael St. Nicholas would just, drown. And so Benji is his arm, his right-hand man, his muscle. So aside from social media, his other strong part of his game, his political machinery, is Benji Perez. And then we've got Cotton Candy as well.
Guys, what about how would you rate the three delegate candidates in terms of their relationships and accessibility with the media?
Well, I mean, I think you can... Michael St. Nicholas is clearly the last one in terms of that, just because... And he doesn't have to be. There's nothing that says that... I mean, some politicians do use the strategy of running against the media, right? So that they kind of argue that the media is fake news, the media is not trustworthy, so that's why we don't trust them. And, but it goes far beyond that. I mean, I know about his exciting and dramatic sort of soap opera relationship with KOAM, for example, how it's never will they, won't they. It's just he won't, he won't, he won't.
Oh, but it's election now, and we got a press conference the other day.
No, and so, but the thing is, yeah, and that's, you know, that's why for me, a lot of these issues, they're critical, they're important, but one of the things that's most worrisome for me is that his office just produces far less than any other congressional office in terms of press releases, in terms of reports, in terms of things for the public to read. I mean, his website was almost empty for months and months and months, for almost an entire year. They redid it several times, but every month I would go back to see what was there, and there was almost nothing there. And so, but the thing is that if you're an elected leader on a national level, then it's not just the things that you do directly, because it's hard to get bills passed in Congress. Thousands are submitted, very few actually become law. But at the same time, it's also that you comment on things, you join the conversation, you stand up for issues, you make a point, you use your platform to tell everybody about Guam. And we see him do that every once in a while, but not enough, especially compared to his predecessors, who didn't have the benefit of social media. So when you look at the documentary record in the archives for both Madeline and Underwood, their offices produced far more for the public to see what they're doing. And so,
and he has to try to get input too from his constituency, and he's not very good at that. I will say that in the very beginning, I was a very strong supporter.
Sorry, Pete. Let's give Beauty a chance, and Joni.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead, ladies.
Go ahead, Miss Joni. I'm honestly learning a lot, and you know, being able to absorb as much as I can, to make a better educated decision, guys. Yeah. And of course, like I said, I'm going to do my own research and until it's time to vote. But Miss Joni, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh,
are we commenting on the social media?
Just the media. What could the delegates do to improve, the candidates do to improve maybe their relationship with the media, or you know, what do you think the status of that relationship is?
Well, I think that as much as possible, you want to be able to, you want to be visible. And so if with COVID, it's not, you're really limited. And so the use of social media is really important. But there's also written media, the PDN and so on. There are other people, the radio, there are other people here who are not on social media. My parents are not on social media. There's a whole segment of the population that doesn't know what Facebook is, right? I mean, that don't have a phone. They don't, you know, they watch TV, they watch the news, they read the news, the PDN or the Post, and they listen to the radio. So I think that it would behoove any of the candidates not to take advantage of as much interaction with the media, with the people, whether it be indirectly or directly.
I have to go. I have a 10 o'clock. However, I just wanted to leave again. Advice to the three candidates is when, like you said, when we get serious about choosing, right now we're just being entertained. That's a lot of fun. But we get really just choosing. We want to see a list of issues and each one of their positions. It's just like when we're going to buy gasoline, or we're deciding whether we're going to buy, whether we're going to shop at American Market or Payless. We're going to say, how much are their apples? What's the quality of their apples? What about this? What about that? And then we look at the overall score. And it'd be really helpful, and I think the media would be really helpful if they would start listing and saying, okay, on this issue, this is what we think this candidate is about. This is what this one is, and this one. This is why the negative campaigns are okay if they also tie it back, well, that's what he did, but this is how I would do it. To just simply say, that guy's bad, well, guess what? We're all Christians. We're all sinners. There's a lot of bad things you can dig about. Everyone's bad. So it's not good enough to simply say, he bad man. It's, he's done this, and I'm going to do this. And that's why I think the sex issue isn't as big an issue to me. I mean, it is important, because if he is unfaithful to his wife, he's probably going to be unfaithful to us. So that is disturbing. But on the other hand, we're all sinners. I'm more interested in what are their public positions on very critical issues. In this case, we have the military buildup issue. Right. We have our relationship with the United States. We like, one of the issues I'd like to know is he in favor of moving the postal, the customs from Hawaii to Guam. Right now, we're considered international.
Right.
And that affects our ability to order things on Amazon and those other things, which are now becoming even more important. A lot of those places
the real
love to
issues.
ship to Guam. All those other issues. So
right.
I would really love if we could start asking 3 of them a list of questions of this issue, this issue, this issue, this issue, and cover the whole gamut of things.
Right.
And then, like our shopping list, at the end of the day, we look at, and not every candidate is going to be perfect on our list, but one that has the most amount that we feel comfortable that, oh yes, we agree with that. And so my advice to any of the candidates is please contrast yourself to your opponent. How are you different than him? Don't just simply say he's bad.
Right.
Also say, but this is how I would have dressed it.
Beauty as a person. Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much for joining us, Mike. Beauty, I'm going to give you the last word just because I feel like you keep saying you're not political, you're not this, but you know what? You got the power this primary election. So we're going to give you the last word. What's your takeaway from our conversation?
Thank you so much. For me, and what I tell a lot of other young people as well, is your vote definitely counts, and you have to make an educated one. You can't just go in and just like tick off whoever's at the just to get out of there. You want to be able to go in and feel prepared and feel armored, because that's the future of not just ourselves but our children. It's at stake. We want to be able to also give that power as well as a community as a whole, and know that we're making the best decisions that we possibly can. And if you don't agree with any of those names on that ballot, then you better be running yourself.
Thank you, Beauty. Thank you, Pete, Joni, Mike. Guys, we're going to keep you on file to bring you guys back on for another after party in the future. All right, great panel. Really loved it. Sabrina, is there something going on?
No, I'm just looking at a few things.
Oh, okay, because you're making me nervous. So I think.
No, I'm looking into.
All right, good job today, Bree. Good job this week. Good job this week. Good job this week, man. We wanted to do this show, loving it. So happy every morning we got the opportunity to go on and get some info out to you guys, maybe entertain you a little bit, and.